Well, that evening was wonderful because it was like old home week, seeing so many friends that I had worked with 50 years ago, some of them a little longer than that. So to actually hear everyone performing on the same stage and then sharing that same wonderful house band. I mean, you can't get any better than Phil Keaggy and Dan Huff jamming together. I mean, that's once in a lifetime stuff. I don't think they ever played together, ever. And to have two of the greatest guitar players in the world playing on that same stage that night, that alone is worth the price of admission. But Nancy Honeytree was fantastic. It had been decades since I'd seen Nancy, and she still is in great voice and still shares such, funny, touching stories. So the combination of that and then my good buddy, Randy Matthews, just so fantastic to hear him with a rockin' band for the first time in, golly, I think early 80s was the last time he had really toured with a band. And so to have Dan Needham and Alex McDougall and, just a great lineup of people playing behind Randy, it just made it a really memorable evening, not only for me, but obviously the packed house was thrilled with the results. And I think people will see that and experience that when they listen to it and see it on film. Yeah, I think one of the wonderful things about the evening was the fact that so many of these folks had played together at festivals or other large events, but rarely had they had the chance to spend a lot of time interacting. And so that old home week extension involved what was going on backstage, just the fellowship of, man, what are you up to now? And just catching up because they shared so much common history, laying the groundwork during the Jesus movement and creating a whole genre of music that no one had ever heard before, a kind of rock and pop being done in a way to reach people with the message of Christ. And, they all suffered through a lot of the same challenges of people not accepting what they were doing or questioning their motives or whatever the case may be. Certainly people didn't understand the music a lot of the time. But as they got to know them as individuals, they realized, okay, this is legitimate. I may not like the music, but I think what they're doing and trying to reach people is important. And so there was that common fellowship between all of these artists that were part of this Jesus Revolution concert. And I think they felt that. They said, man, that was 50 years ago, and here we are today, still performing music and sometimes not being understood. But I think for the most part, they were grateful that they had gotten through the worst parts of it, and now they were able to kind of look back on it with a lot of joy and a certain amount of nostalgia, but they're still legitimate artists. It isn't like they're just doing the old stuff, they're still creating things. So they felt a camaraderie about trying to keep moving forward with the calling that they had on their lives.